Hi, it's Kristy from Exercise Authorities and the Salon Spa and Fitness Studio, as well as Wassa CrossFit here. I'm answering another question that I have in my email, and it's a woman who writes, "Any advice on how to get rid of my baby belly fat? I don't have much time to exercise because of my children. I've kept a little weight each time, and I want to get rid of some of the weight in case we try for another rugrat." Cute way of putting it. When I read these types of questions, I'm identifying facts. People who send me emails about how they feel about fitness and what they want to do often go into what they feel, so the emotional side of something that may not necessarily be a fact. The fact is our body is going to acclimate to a variety of things, a lot of which we have control over, although we may feel we don't have control over it. So number one is nutrition. Nutrition is, if you basically look at your body, it's a chemistry lab. It is there to respond to all the chemicals and the stimuli of which we are applying to it. So when I say chemicals, I'm actually referring to food, nutrition. So nutrition is always number one. What you eat will dictate a lot of what you look like. Now, it's not as simple as that. However, the nutrition that goes in triggers processes. Now, if our body is this, think of it as this mass processor, you begin to look at your food differently because the processor sometimes is not necessarily in balance, and there may be problems going on, perhaps in a medical realm, that changes the normal, if we classify something as normal as far as what food we eat versus what it does in the body, there's what we can perceive as a normal. If the body is functioning normally, we can assume certain results. So I'm definitely not a doctor. You're always supposed to consult with a doctor, but I will say that generally speaking, in all of my clients, 80 to 90% of what their body looks like is going to be dictated by what they eat. So my advice is, in this statement where we don't have the time to exercise, is you have all the time in the world to condition your eating, whether you like to hear that or not. You're going to eat. It's inevitable. You're going to eat, and you have a choice as to what you eat. So the problem with a lot of us is we don't have the willpower to make the correct decisions. So what I would say is go back to the principles of eating healthy. And for all of us, we have an idea on what that means. So if you've moved away from eating healthy, go back to eating healthy. And I'm not even going to tell you what that is for you. Start there, because if you change from whatever your existing patterns are, and you make those existing patterns better in any way, shape, or form, you should receive a result. Once that result has balanced itself out and you've ceased to get results, then you have to perfect and refine what it is you think healthy eating is. So, a lot of times by the time people have gotten to me, they believe they're eating healthy and they have ceased to get results. So I take these healthy eaters, and some of the common things that I hear are, I'm eating whole grain bread, I'm eating whole grain wraps, I'm eating rice cakes, and a lot of what I'm hearing is I'm eating healthy starch, this, that, and all the packaging says it's low fat, no fat, whole grain this, whole grain that. Well, it's still processed food. So our grains and our natural foods should be eaten in their natural state. That's what our body was designed to do and recognize. So when you have taken your existing standpoint and made it better, don't stress yourself about going toward perfection 100% right away, because it sounds like you're busy. When you have a family and demands of life, I understand it's difficult. So initially, make better changes. If you want to go to the next level after those changes have ceased to give you results, go in further and analyze your quantity of food intake. Make sure that you're spacing it out. I usually tell people eat every 2.5 to 3 hours throughout the day in small quantities, but healthy quantities, meaning healthy foods, nutritionally dense foods. 2.5 to 3 hours keeps your metabolism going more so than the 3 meals a day concept where you're eating 3 large meals a day and nothing in between. think of your body as a machine. Each time you put something in, the machine has to crank and churn and work to get the food through. So if you're only doing that 3 times a day, you're only giving yourself 3 opportunities to boost your metabolism. So those of us who are eating frequently, you hear that people eat like a bird. They're constantly eating, they're constantly picking. Constantly doing that keeps that metabolism revved up. Now you need to make sure you're eating the right foods. That doesn't mean you get to eat McDonald's 7 times a day, which I know you're not going to. I know your particular type, and that's just not going to be something you're going to do. So what I would say to you is, in the busyness of not being able to exercise, which a lot of us end up going through at some point, where avid exercisers go through points where they're traveling or they're working crazy hours and they're just unable to exercise their normal patterns, so they're not able to burn as many calories. The way that they can condition their body to utilize and burn calories is by the types of foods that they eat. So boil it down to this, is refine your eating. If you have weight on your body that there is to get off, then the fastest way to do so is to condition your nutrient intake. So make better choices there. And if you need specific guidance, I'm here. That is something I do as a profession. So you can get a hold of me at Kristy@exerciseauthorities.com. That's KRISTY at EXERCISEAUTHORITIES.com. Thanks for listening.